What's up, Titan fans, and welcome to another week of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Jason Mackey, alongside Coach Han. We're going to talk about last week, and the Titans got a huge win over Grove City, 14-13 at Bury Stadium. We'll preview next week's game on Saturday against the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets down in Greene County. Steve's got a pack report to tell us what's going on around the conference. We got a player interview with the quarterback, Brett Myers, the man who threw the touchdown pass in the waning seconds against Grove City to get the Titans the big win. But let's take a look at that Grove City game right now in the first half highlights. Two teams trade 3 and outs to start the game, and on Grove City's next possession on a 3rd and 9, Clark stopped for only 4 by Jason Fridley. Grove City gives it up. Grove City with it back now, and they fumble. The Titans are going to get that one back as Clark coughs it up, and Matt Hanold picks it up at midfield. The Titans with the rock back now. Eddie Williams can't handle the pitch. He loses 11. Titans have to punt, and after another Grove City punt, the Titans with it back in their own end. J.R. Barley got it done on Saturday with his legs, and he gets it done here on a 3rd and 10. Picks up 21 all the way up to the Westminster 44-yard line to sustain the drive. And on another 3rd down situation, 3rd and 9 right here, Barley hits Jason DeCello, and check out the yards after the catch for number 23. Picks up 18 to the Grove City 37-yard line, and it would set up the big score of the drive. From 43 yards out, Barley back to pass, looking over the middle, and he finds Brett Ziegler. And the touchdown, Titans go on top 7-0. Ziegler's like, yo, I just don't need a touchdown dance. And Grove City's next possession, Bradford Clark's going to cough it up again. Fumble forced by Andrew Robinson, but it bounces out of bounds. Grove City would score on the drive, a 47-yard pass, Clark to Fichter. And the Titans go with the wide receiver screen here. JR to Jake Buzzard, good for 7 yards to the Grove City 43-yard line, but the Titans would not score on the drive. Barley looking over the middle on the post route to Ziegler, but too far, incomplete. Grove City back on offense, and they go with the trick play here. Scott Fichter trying to throw back to Bradford Clark, but Andrew Robinson knocks it down, a big defensive play. Check out the defensive end here, number 81, it's Scott Brucker on a 3rd and 19. Clark trying to throw, but Brucker pops him, and the Titans get the football back. On a 2nd and 5, Barley will look to throw, and he finds the man at the top of your screen, Jordan Bellish, for 11 yards, and a nice play by number 18 here, recognizing the situation, gets out of bounds to stop the clock, the Titan passing game rolling. 2nd and 8, Barley completes this one to Buzzard in the slot, good for 9 yards to the 38-yard line, but it all came down here as Barley sacks for a loss of 9 yards to the 46-yard line, and it ended up in this, a 4th and 11. Barley heaves one up in the end zone, trying to find Brett Ziegler, but Clay Piper knocks it down. Score at the end of the half. We're all tied up at 7. All right, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Jason Mackey and Coach Hand here to talk about the first half. And Coach, how did it feel like you guys just got a huge monkey off your back getting this win?
Oh, it was nice to get a victory at home for sure, and it was coming down to crunch time, and we gave the fans something to stay in their seats about.
I mean, they really weren't staying in their seats, though. I mean, they were up and cheering. It was great. But talk about crunch time. Well, Sean Buggy, gentleman that really got it going in crunch time, had 34 yards on the final carry. But the running game, not a lot of numbers on Saturday. What was going on with the running game on Saturday?
Well, it's something that people were focusing more on. I mean, obviously, Sean is our feature player on offense, if there is such a thing. I mean, he's the guy that has more touches, significantly more touches than anybody else, and people were focusing on him more. And they were packing people in, and we need to do some things to loosen them up.
Now, in the highlight reel, one of the plays I chose, 43 yards from Barley to Ziegler for the touchdown. You guys went with the post route too.
Yeah, and that's something that we have to do more of, and that's something that we're getting more and more confident in calling as our passing game continues to get better.
Now, is this something that you see in defenses, like the coverages they're giving you, that you can exploit more to throw more over the middle?
It was partly how they were playing their coverage. There's no doubt about that, but at the same time, I mean, a similar route can be run against any coverage.
No, Eddie Williams dropped the pitch. We showed that in the highlights, but what was going on in your head? What was coming out of your mouth at this point when this happened?
Not a ton was coming out of my mouth, surprisingly, but just extreme disappointment in the play. I mean, it was a play that could have been a solid play for us, and that wasn't the only thing that went wrong on that play, though.
Now, against Grove City, we talked about the wing tee and how important it was to stop this. And Titans did a pretty good job of controlling the running game. Really no big plays running the football. What was the key to stopping this wing tee?
Well, playing physical. and they're going to try to get to the edge many different ways, and we played pretty physical defense for the most part, and ran the alley fairly well, and played discipline with the safeties that we did play. And even on their one pass that they had, I mean, there's two guys there, and we just need to make a play.
When you say discipline, is that not falling for fakes and the sort of deception that they do with the wing tee?
Yeah, somewhat. And although they didn't do quite as much as they have in the past as far as the faking, and they weren't near as crisp as they have been in past years. They definitely, their timing was off to some degree. Some of the counter action that they had, they were running it successfully, and then they fumbled one and they never came back to it. And that's kind of the mentality of offensive coaches. Sometimes when something doesn't work, if they don't come right back to it, they're not going to.
If we look at the Grove City passing game, Coach, so 3 of 8 for 55 or something like that in the game, and they had the one big scoring play. How much were you guys able to control the passing game and really not allow Grove City any big plays?
Yeah, again, that was being disciplined and not biting on the fakes in the backfield. And and as I said, I mean, even the long pass they did have, I mean, there were guys there, and kind of just it was an odd play. I mean, it looked like it was going to be an interception, and next thing you know, it's a touchdown.
Yeah. No, is that, you talk about discipline in the running game, discipline in the passing game, not falling for play action. How important is that facing the wing tee?
That's huge. You can't underestimate that one bit. Especially, as much as they run the ball, they can kind of lull you to sleep, and you can get a little bit more nosy, especially if they get a few 5-yard gains and think you have to come up a little bit more. You have to be disciplined.
All right, well, the score is 7-7 at the end of the first half. Let's take a look now at the second half highlights. Titans get it first here in the second half, and J.R. Barley on a 2nd and 8 is sacked for a loss of 6 yards. Credit this sack to Steve Weary. And then on a 3rd and 14, Barley back to pass, and he's going to be intercepted over the middle by Shane Coughlin. Grove City gets it back, but they would not score. Titans punt on their next possession. Grove City punts, and finally the Titans with it back, and Sean Buggy 8 yards around the right-hand side, but later in the drive, Buggy fumbles, and number 10, Ross Trimmer, picks it up. Trimmer's going to take it back 42 yards for the Grove City score, putting the Wolverines on top 13-7 at this point. But pay attention on the extra point. Brandon McCall, the kicker, pushes it wide left, and Grove City misses the extra point. On the next Grove City possession, Adam Wargo loses 9 yards. Greg Piper and Jason Fridley in on that tackle. Grove City has to punt. Henry Johnson kicks it. Jake Buzzard back and puts a nice move here on Ross Trimmer, and Buzzard picks up 6 yards on the return, but the Titans would not score. On the next Grove City possession, they bring in the big fella, Ken Rowdy Bush. He picks up 13 yards up to the 28-yard line. Dulovich finally brings him down, but the Titan D would stiffen up here on a 3rd and 6. Bradford Clark tries to take it himself, but Adam Ababney rips him down for a loss of 6 yards. Later on the next Grove City possession, Bradford Clark trying to run again, but Ababney would meet him again, this time for a loss of 2. Grove City stopped again. Titans back on offense, and Brett Myers in a quarterback for an injured J.R. Barley, but he's picked off here by Dave Isler at the Westminster 46. Isler will bring it back 12 yards, and Grove City with excellent field position, but they would not score, and they turned it over to Westminster. Westminster now with it back, and Myers finds Jake Buzzard in the flat. A great one-handed catch by Jake, and it sustains the drive, and here it is, the play of the day, folks. Brett Myers to Brett Ziegler for 14 yards, and the Titan touchdown. Titans on top at this point, 14-13, late in the fourth quarter. Grove City with one chance left. Bradford Clark from midfield heaves it into the end zone, intended for Scott Victor, but what do? Knock it down. That's what the Titans do. They win this one at home, 14-13. All right, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Jason Mackey and Coach Hand here to talk about the game that was a big emotional game, 14-13 over Grove City. And Coach, in the second half, we saw J.R. Barley holding his right arm a little bit limp. And was this a shoulder injury, or what's the situation going on with this?
Yeah, he is a little dinged up, and he's going through some rehab right now.
Is he someone that's going to be available on Saturday, or is this going to have to be ironed out in the next 2 days?
I believe so. I think he's progressing quite well, and only he knows for sure if he's physically going to be able to, and the trainer has some idea as well.
You know, a lot of times with the football team, I mean, you got a little problem with the backup quarterback, but the Titans don't have that. You know, Brett Myers stepped in, did a great job, and he has to be feeling a lot more comfortable with the offense.
Yeah, certainly, and I feel that Brett's really been as close to a backup quarterback as you're going to get, and as close to a first-string quarterback as you're going to get without being in a two-platoon situation. And Brett's been right there most of the year anyway.
No, obviously I didn't make it out of my little booth on Saturday. You know, I didn't see the win, but it seemed like it was playing a big factor. Brandon McCall's kick was blown all the way to the left. How much was it a factor when you were on the field?
It was a factor. I don't know if he totally missed a kick because of the wind, though. It may have been part of it, but yeah. He basically pulled it big time.
Yeah, I know Coach Fusco talked about how much the wind blew that kick to the left, and that's something that he always highlights a lot. You know, after the game, we saw a lot of emotions running high. You know, and you finally got to do the thing where you were conducting the band and they were singing. How was that?
Oh, it was cool. I appreciate the band and all their support, and you know, and it's certainly a great thing to be able to unite the fans, the team, the band, and everybody. And it's kind of nice that we got to start the tradition this year, and you know, get that moving along. And that is something that we're going to do at every home victory.
I saw you take your first crack at conducting. I mean, you were a little bit off, but how'd that go?
I didn't really conduct anything. Coach Augustine is actually our chorister, so okay. He got it all figured out.
Now, I was sitting in the booth thinking this too. Is this the first time you really felt at home at Westminster, like with the big win and everything? Is this the first time you really felt like this is where you're supposed to be?
No, I mean, I've felt at home, you know, really my whole time here. I mean, it's still a little bit of I'm still getting acclimated to, you know, to Westminster, all the different things that go on and unique. And I really feel, you know, it's going to be a complete year before, you know, you get 100% comfortable. But yeah, I mean, it was nice and it was comfortable. You know, we have great support, we have great people, and we have great guys to work with.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, the last question for this segment. I kept it secret all season, but the NFL Pick'em Challenge. Steve's going to talk about it in a little bit. What are we going to do when we beat them?
I don't know. I personally think that you know, the person that comes in last should be responsible for providing dinner. I mean, that's what I think. But you know, I like food. I like to eat, so that's what I'd go with.
Well, I think Steve's going to have to buy me dinner, but we'll find out about that in a little bit. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with Steve's Pack Report after this on Coach's Corner.
Okay, girls, 3 o'clock.
What is he looking at?
Oh, it's so obvious. Captain Obvious has scored again. Open your window. Say something.
Oh, he's really going to down.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Thank you. Honey, finish up. Come on, we gotta go.
Ew.
What's wrong?
Something's on my glass.
See. Oh, it's lipstick. Excuse me, ma'am. Could we just have a new glass, please? This one's dirty. Thank you.
Mom.
Honey, I don't want you to get sick. I don't know what's on that glass.
Oh, have me one too.
Hey, you want a soap to beer?
Yeah.
There you go. There's some honey right here, too.
Picture yourself at Westminster College. Westminster offers an educational experience that is second to none. We've been exceeding students' expectations for 150 years. Westminster combines the prestige of a national liberal arts college with the personal attention you deserve. Westminster is a national leader in graduation rate performance and is the most affordable national liberal arts college in Pennsylvania. Visit Westminster's beautiful 300-acre campus to experience an ideal learning environment. Succeed at Westminster College.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, everyone. I'm Steve Brink, and I'm here to bring you the Week 10 edition of the Pack Report. Let's get things started by taking a look at the overall standings. Teal is on top at 9-0, followed by W&J at 9-1, whose season is done for the moment, but we'll see if they make the playoffs or not. Thomas More is in third at 5-4, followed by Westminster at 4-5, then Waynesburg, Grove City, and finally Bethany at 1-9. Now on to what really matters, though, and that is the conference standings. Teal is on top, obviously, at 6-0, followed by W&J at 5-1, and Thomas More at 4-2. But now here is where it gets interesting. Grove City is finished with conference play at 2-4. Westminster is at 2-3, and Waynesburg is at 1-4. If the Yellow Jackets beat the Titans on Saturday, then we will have a three-way tie for fourth place because Westminster beat Grove City beat Waynesburg, and if that scenario plays out, Waynesburg would have a win over Westminster, so all three schools would be 1-1 against the other two. But of course, if Westminster wins, then that ends all the confusion, as the Titans would take fourth, the Yellow Jackets would drop to sixth, and Bethany would be in the cellar still at 0-6. Now we're going to take a look at what happened around the PAC last week, and we're going to start with the unbeaten Teal Tomcats. Teal improved to 9-0 on the season as they beat Buffalo State last weekend by a score of 21-3. Tomcat defense had 7 sacks while making 13 tackles for loss. Quarterback Daryl Satterfield threw 2 more touchdown passes to up his career mark to 33. The Bethany Bison closed out their 2005 season at home with a loss to former Pac school Carnegie Mellon by a score of 30-15. Wide receiver T.J. Parker caught 6 passes for 91 yards and one touchdown, his 9th of the year, which gives him the Bethany single-season record for most touchdown receptions in a season. Waynesburg lost a heartbreaker in overtime to Frostburg State Saturday, losing 17-10. Ryan Abels was held to just 84 yards on 20 carries while also adding a touchdown. Westminster quarterback Brett Myers came off the bench to replace the injured J.R. Barley and led the Titans on a 14-play, 80-yard drive in the final minutes of the game to give the Titans their first home win as they beat Pac rival Grove City by a score of 14-13. Brett Ziegler caught the game-winning touchdown pass from Myers with 16 seconds to play, and kicker Chris Castillo made the extra point to seal the win for Westminster. Finally, W&J clinched their second place in the PAC as they beat Thomas More in Kentucky by a score of 32-14. This is the 9th time in the last 13 seasons that W&J has had at least 9 wins in a season. Aaron Krebs caught 5 passes, giving him 173 career receptions, which is good enough for second place on the school's all-time list. Now it's time to acknowledge the PAC Offensive and Defensive Players of the Week, and we'll start with the offense. W&J quarterback Chris Edwards gets the award this week. Senior from Uniontown, Ohio, passed the 3,000-yard mark for the season and the 8,000-yard mark for his career as he went 17-31 for 373 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Presidents beat Thomas More to clinch second place in the PAC. Now flipping sides to the defense, this week's award goes to Bethany linebacker Tim Getz. The senior from Shaler High School in Pittsburgh had a game-high 20 tackles in the Bison's loss to Carnegie Mellon. Getz finishes the season with 120 tackles and 307 total tackles during his 4-year career at Bethany. Now, every week here on the Pac Report, we like to send out some love to 5 other top performers around the Pac, and here's this week's edition of the Fantastic 5. Coming in at number 5, we have W&J wideout Aaron Krebs. Krebs moved into second place on the school's all-time reception list as he caught 5 passes for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Number 4, we have Teal quarterback Daryl Satterfield. Satterfield was 14-32 for 261 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Tomcats' win over Buffalo State. Westminster wide receiver Brett Ziegler comes in at number 3. Ziegler caught 5 passes for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of which was an 11-yard reception with 16 seconds to play to give the Titans their first home win of the 2005 season. Number 2, we have Bethany wideout T.J. Parker. Parker caught 6 passes for 91 yards and 1 score, and that touchdown gave him the Bethany single-season record for most touchdown receptions in a season. And finally, number 1, we have Teal wide receiver Brandon Chambers. Chambers caught 7 passes for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Tomcats improved to 9-0 on the season. Now it's time to check out what's happening around the PAC this week, and we've only got 3 games on the schedule, including 1 Pac contest. First, we've got the Teal Tomcats traveling down to Pittsburgh to take on Carnegie Mellon. This is the first meeting between the two schools since 1989. Carnegie Mellon leads the all-time series 27-9 with 2 ties. Thomas More closes out their season on the road as they take on Mount St. Joseph. The Saints lead the all-time series 9-1, but the only Mount St. Joseph win came in the last meeting between the two schools. And finally, we have the last Pac matchup of the 2005 season. Westminster head coach Jeff Hand returns to his former school as the Titans travel down to Waynesburg for senior day at John Wiley Stadium. Last year, Waynesburg left New Wilmington with an 18-13 victory. Waynesburg running backs Ryan Abels and Eric Daniels combined for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns on 32 carries in that game. Well, before we go, we got to take a quick look at the updated standings for the NFL Pick'em Challenge. If it wasn't for Houston losing to Jacksonville, I would have gone a perfect 6-0 last week, but 5-1 isn't too bad. Jason and Coach picked the same winners for all 6 of the games last week, so they're both still tied at 31 and 23. I'm only 2 games back with 1 final week to go. And if we take a look at this week's games, I decided that the Jacksonville curse is probably over. So they're off the schedule for this week. I'm 2 games behind in the standings, so I'm going to be going with a few underdogs. Stay tuned to next week to see who prevails. I'm not going to reveal the standings until Coach's Corner next Thursday, so stay tuned for that. That does it for this week's edition of the Pack Report. Back to you, Jason.
All right, thanks, Steve. I'm here with quarterback Brett Myers.
Brett Ziegler, and I did this as Josh Beer earlier in the season. What was going through your head as you threw this? Just walk us through this play.
It went kind of fast. It was we ran the play 2 plays before, and we came back to it, and it ended up working this time. But I just saw him coming into the window I needed to hit him in, and threw the ball, and then adrenaline kicked in from there. So I kind of don't really remember anything after that.
You talked about adrenaline. Now, I mean, you got on the sideline. There had to be some adrenaline on the sideline.
Oh yeah, it was a real treat for me to actually throw that ball because everyone was real excited for me, and I actually pretty much got tackled when I came over to the sideline, but everyone was pretty happy, and there's a lot of emotion going on, so it was pretty cool.
I was watching Ziggy's celebration, and he went down after he caught the ball. And there was like 8 guys piling on him. But no, this isn't the first time you've come off the bench and had an impact on the team. You know, back in the Hiram game, you came off and had a great game. What kind of impact do you feel that you can have on the team?
I feel that I'm more of a role player, and that I can come off when JR gets hurt or with whatever other situation I'm put in, and I think I have the confidence, and coaches have the confidence in me to put me in and step up.
Well, backing up a little bit, before all this happened, how nervous were you when Coach Hand or Coach Pav or whoever it was said, you're going into the game? You know, what were you thinking?
I mean, I think everyone's kind of nervous. I mean, whether you start or whether you come in from 3rd string, I think everyone's a little nervous, but I kind of used my nervousness and used it to my advantage and try to take my team down for a win.
Now, what's going on this week? Coach said JR is a little bit dinged up. You know, what's going on this week? How's practice been, and are you getting ready for Waynesburg?
Well, I mean, JR is going through his rehab, and I guess he's doing pretty well. And I'm just trying right now to step up, and you know, it's not only me that's practicing. I'm trying to help the whole team. But I don't know who's getting the call. I don't know if JR is going to be able to play. I don't really know. He doesn't really know. And Sean Toomey, our trainer's really the one that says who goes or not. So that's pretty much where we're at right now.
Well, you're preparing for Waynesburg, Coach Hand's old team, obviously. Do you guys feel any pressure, any more excitement trying to get a win against your old coach's team?
I don't know if anyone has more excitement than him, but I think we are pretty excited. I mean, it's the last game. We want to go out with a bang, and we want to really set foot for the next season. So we really want to win. Being more excited than him, I don't know if that's possible, but we're pretty excited for this game.
I got to correct myself. The coach's old team, not the old coach's team. He'll probably kill me off air. But no, Coach Pav, your offensive coordinator, does he make it any more simple as a quarterback going into the game? Does he simplify the offense when the backup quarterback comes in?
The only way that I would say that he simplifies it is that we don't really run the trick plays and the stuff like that. But really, our offense is pretty basic as it is. So I mean, it's a pretty simple offense. So no, but then again, he kind of does in a way. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same plays.
All right, last question. On the sideline, when JR was in the game, you had to do these crazy hand signals. Now, that has to be a pain to signal plays in like that.
Actually, I give the fake signals. So we both, obviously me and JR both know the real signals, and then I'm the one that's kind of a distraction from Coach D'Imperio. So it's kind of hard because he doesn't want me to give the same signals, obviously. So I'm more of a snake.
Okay, we do that in baseball, different pitch signs. We have pitchers giving fake pitches. But all right, thank you very much, Brett. We're going to take a short break, and Coach and I will be back to talk about Waynesburg after this on Coach's Corner.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
The Lawrence County Humane Society believes in the safety of spaying and neutering your animals. Spaying and neutering can have many long-term benefits.
We at the Lawrence County Humane Society believe that all animals should be spayed or neutered. Many reasons why, but the biggest reason is that they will be a happier, healthier pet. Also, it alleviates the overpopulation problem.
Getting your animals spayed and neutered is one huge step in making sure that more animals are healthy and find loving homes.
I'm the best thing you ever had. Only thing I'm guilty of is giving you too much love, making you crazy, making you rap, making me follow me, making me suspect. Seem to think I'm playing her game. Don't you know, you never heard this is me.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
All right, welcome back to Coach's Corner. Jason Mackey and Coach Hand here to talk about the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets, the Titans' opponent for Saturday. And Coach, you obviously started a great tradition down there. And what's it like facing your old boys?
You know, I think there's a lot more hype put into it than really what it's all about. I mean, it's the most important thing for me right now is trying to do everything in my power to bring the Titans to a 500 season, and what would be called a non-losing season. Well, the default is a winning season, and I don't believe there's near as much emotion into it as what people think there is.
Now, I've been waiting a couple weeks to ask you this question, but you got the stupid train running by the field. Now, how much does this play a factor in a game for someone that's played there an awful lot like you have?
Well, actually, I really like trains. I mean, my grandfather was a conductor, and when I lived in Chicago, I lived right on the train tracks, and I mean, trains don't bother me at all.
All right. Totally stumped me with that question, Coach. Now, a couple of your other coaches, it's almost like a homecoming for them. You got a couple guys going back to their alma mater, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Paul and Coach Ross, they're excited. They're fresh out of school, and Coach Rowley's a few more years removed. But I think some definite energy is flowing in a negative way towards that institution.
Good. When we look at some of their offensive players, Eric Daniels, Ryan Abels, the running game, certainly got to look at those, and two impressive backs to watch out for on Saturday.
Yeah, two and a third. I mean, there's Calvin Lee's a very good back too, and he's got quite a few touches this year as well. And they all three of them have nice speed and nice ability.
They like trains too. Trace Cobb, their quarterback. Now we talk about throwing a lot of interceptions. He's thrown 9 this season. I think only 4 touchdown passes or something. Are you guys anxious to get possibly take advantage of the turnover?
Well, actually, he hasn't turned the ball over that much recently. A lot of those turnovers came early in the year. He's getting better as the year goes, as the year has gone on. So they're not turning the ball over nearly as much. Although, we'll hope to capitalize on any turnovers we can get.
We look at their wide receivers, Coach Ivan Hawkins and Dominic Hunter. Now, is it better to play these guys with a man coverage or a zone coverage? Because obviously you can expect both of them to catch the football.
Yeah, they're both they're very good receivers. We'll mix it up, man and zone. I mean, I think if you'll notice in our secondary, most games, we're going to try and mix it up as much as we can and try and keep offenses off balance. And it'll be no different this week. The only difference is you have to respect their speed a little bit, and you have to be aware of their abilities.
If we look at their defensive end, Coach Mike Serwin, I'm probably going to say his name wrong, but he's had quite an impressive year, had an impressive one last year. Now, how do you account for him with blocking with running backs out of the backfield, or do you double team him? What do you do to take care of him?
Well, he's as quality of a player as the gentleman from Frostburg State, Colbert, I think his name
Kevin
was.
Colbert.
Yeah, and he just has a little bit more push. He's just a little bit stronger, but not quite as fast. And we're going to do similar things that we did against Frostburg State.
All right, well, thank you very much, Coach. I hope you enjoyed the train down there on Waynesburg on Saturday. But that does it for this episode of Coach's Corner. We'll see if the Titans can get a win against Waynesburg. They fell 18-13 here at Bury Stadium last year, as Steve said. But that does it for us. For Coach Hand, I'm Jason Mackey. Thanks for watching Coach's Corner on the Westminster Cable Network.